Change is effectively happening, as Rob said. 24 hours ago, I wasn't even aware I was going to stand here. So for those who don't know, I'm not Sandy Johnston or I'm not Brian. I'm basically working primarily in the provider space, which gives me a good kind of like feeling of what Rob mentioned, like about the waste that's going on there. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about is, and I do need this thing to move forward.
Uh-huh. Is it behind here?
Probably have to be here.
Yeah.
The green button?
Yes.
So basically, the question that we've asked, like, is this all change? I mean, the biggest taxi company in the world doesn't own cars. The biggest lodging accommodation, holiday destination place doesn't own any single room. I mean, we probably, all of us in the room, are gonna see the first cars that drive without you actually driving. And I mean, my parents, they saw the first cars. So what is it gonna mean to us? I mean, are we going digital? Is any one of you having already a CDO in the company? A Chief Digital Officer. Now, this is basically what we're gonna talk about. Now, we see a lot of things, and I probably have to click a bit faster here. We know that we're getting all older. A lot of us are gonna be in this 1.2 billion number of people that are over 60. We see the consumer taking control. We have social media, big data, analytics being mentioned of, and a whole set of new entrants, people that were never before in healthcare and now seem to take a stake in this place. The question is like, can we be there as well, and what can we do with them, and how can we collaborate with them? That's the message that I think we have to bring. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the environment is. We do know that our healthcare systems, although they're very good in Europe, they are under pressure. But one thing is for sure, as Rob also mentioned, I mean, value is going to be the key thing. Value is the only thing that's going to matter. And of course, the value for us as companies is often like our commercial ability to sell things. And if a doctor likes to buy the nicest gimmick in the world, and it's probably doing well in terms of healthcare, that's fine. But is this going to help us making our kids and grandkids having like the same level of health as we have today? So we need to think, how can we change this balance, and how can we actually move to providing this value? We have this responsibility as a healthcare industry. Now, one of these cost pressures, for example, is really moving the patient from the hospital to complete home care. I mean, we see things in between, of course. Now, this is an immense opportunity for all of us. We already see this in the way, for example, today we can offer telemonitoring and stuff. It's things that we do already for 10 years. The technology behind it is existing for years, but the mobile technology now is opening a complete new field. The one thing that we do have to address, of course, if we start talking about first level and third level kind of like care, is that we make sure that all these people talk to each other. How is this information getting to everyone? And we already heard it saying about big data. I mean, there is a huge amount of data, and even today, inside a provider space like a hospital, we hardly seem to be able to make sure the data gets around. This is an opportunity for us. We can help these people. We can help them to get there. We can make sure that the home care providers get the technology they need to be able to provide the service they need. And we solve not only an entire cost problem, but also a lack of professional healthcare caregivers. I mean, we see nurses still making up beds today. I mean, why do you need like a diploma of that degree and study 5 years? Moving from healthcare to health, I think that's the big message. Now, we all heard about these fancy apps and wearables and stuff like that. Now, who here is wearing a wearable? One person, two, three? Yeah, we're really lagging behind in the Medtech industry. Who is not wearing a wearable? Okay, so it's not that you don't have to put your hand. So, who's using a fitness app? Who is using a sports app only for sports purposes? Okay. Who is kind of like monitoring his daily intake of food?
It's a good one.
Okay, we see it kind of like, now, Weight Watchers is one of the biggest contributors to health today. I mean, anyone who has ever heard about MyFitnessPal, it has 80 million subscribers. 80 million subscribers, people that, I don't know if they all do it daily. I mean, I started like 6 months ago, and I must say that I kind of forget often. But since I did, and the most spectacular result, I lost 6 kilograms, but I got my teenage son, who is notorious of not listening to us, basically to say like, oh, I'm going to do like a small bike ride and consume some calories before I go to that party, because otherwise, no. So it is working, and these things, these subscribers, I mean, just to give you an idea, FitnessPal is being sold for like $500 million. We talked about some money being wasted in the healthcare industry. I mean, there is some money going around there. Now, we talked about consumer-centric. I mean, the do-it-yourself patient. We see it with these fitness trends, and this is kind of like, as Rob also mentioned, it's not to treat the sick patient. This is basically to keep you healthy and make sure you're healthy. But what are we going to do in our own kind of like, our own responsibility as patients? We need to take care of our own kind of health in a different way. And this new generation will do it, but also the generation to come. And it's not just like because we are more conscious about health, because we expect ease of use. I mean, the 24/7 culture, and I talked this morning with some people like, I mean, actually in Switzerland and Germany, they still like the Sunday, and we don't like to go shopping. It's true, but the 24/7 culture is there. I mean, people expect it. We want the convenience and the ease of use of our home banking, which we can do on a Sunday, the ordering on the internet. I mean, companies like Coolblue, I don't know if anyone heard, but they didn't exist like 7 years ago. But today, I shop on Sunday and Monday morning on 9 o'clock, the things are there. We want the same. And we see apps. A small startup spin-off of a hospital here in Belgium has an app released that only uses your iPhone, nothing else, and is capable of giving clinical grade arrhythmic kind of like rhythm disorder signs. So this is coming, and is this as good as what we do? No. Is this a threat? Perhaps. Do we have to work with them? Yes. Another kind of cool thing is a lab on a chip. I mean, think about being in diagnostics, and tomorrow we're going to go to the Walmart, the Tesco, whatever, buy a chip, prick in our finger, and get right away like an indication of what is going on with me. Should I call the doctor, yes or no? These things are happening. Convenience is driving this trend. We did a study in our Health Research Institute, and apparently close to more than 50% of the US consumers are ready to go to this do-it-yourself model. So it's not just like that we're talking about it and you see things coming. People are really ready, and we see solutions that are not much more than like a small kind of like test, and then you go and send it to the doctor. But for example, the app Skin Vision, it's a Dutch company, I believe, they have an algorithm behind it. So you take a picture of the mole that you have on your skin, and the app itself, the algorithm will already kind of indicate if this mole might be potentially dangerous and needs like extra care, and then you can send it further to a doctor. I mean, the subscription models behind it, of course, like that give tremendous opportunities that we can tap into. And of course, in Europe, this is less of an issue, but think about these type of solutions that can help the third world. I mean, the developing world where there is no easy access to a doctor. I mean, it's not just convenience. I mean, we have an opportunity there to give like an entire population, a big chunk of the world population, like a reasonable good health. And you know, health is wealth. Now, I believe some of you might still say like, this is not for us yet. I mean, does this look familiar to you? Well, it's a reality. So embrace it and drive the change. Be in the driver's seat. Don't wait until we change or the government, if they ever get to it, is going to change. But we have to be there. And as a proof, it's not only in US. I mean, you saw the study we did for the new entrants. We also asked in Sweden, in Germany, Canada's not really Europe. But what are they doing? And you see similar trends. convenience is driving it. Like in Germany, they want an app to book an appointment. Obviously, they're not satisfied with the time that they have to spend and wait before they get to see a doctor. So these are important kind of like elements that we need to look at. How can we improve the convenience? And how can your customer, might be the provider still, might be the hospital, they also need to service the same patient that has the same expectations. Can you introduce as part of your solution a way that there is more convenience for them? I mean, just bust the queuing lines or whatever. Is there an opportunity for you? Grab it, go for it. So, new entrants. A terminology for these kind of new people that come out of a completely different industry and now claim to take a part of the healthcare market. And we see the retailers going from a Walmart and things like that, but we even see technology players like Microsoft, Apple, but also the telco. I mean, what the hell is the telco doing in health? I mean, they're making sure my telephone works. That's what they were supposed to do. Now, they are investing heavily, and I'm talking really about big time, also in Europe, in like new networks. We're talking about not the 4G, 5G kind of thing, but new networks that will basically drive the Internet of Things. Yeah, again, one of these nice terminologies that come up. The Internet of Things that will basically help to get all set of sensors and send that into this big cloud of data. And they're doing that not just for the healthcare industry. I mean, if you look at the studies, most of them don't really look at healthcare, probably because we are lagging behind, but the opportunity is immense. We can provide tomorrow SIM-less devices that send their data straight away to, for example, think about your service organization, preventive maintenance. You want additional revenue, you make some more margin because you can't get it anymore in your products. Well, have a look at how can you improve your service. Warn the hospital, the doctor, whatever, that his device might get into a failure mode because there is something going on there. And react up front. This has a value, not only for the patient who will not have to wait, but it will be also a value for the people that use your technology beyond what you do with it. And of course, you got all these players and they need to work together. Without working together, it won't work. And the government is going to be an important, or the payer is going to be an important kind of part in it. The outcome-based part is even more important in that entire thing. Now, I see that I need to respect my time, so I'm going to move on. A couple of neat, nifty kind of like developments. One of these new players, for example, is Qualcomm. Anyone heard about Qualcomm before? Qualcomm is actually like the Intel in the mobile device world, especially wireless driven. Now they are at least in like 20 different kind of like nifty new innovations. One of them, for example, is an inhaler that can see if the patient actually took his actual doses for asthma patients, for example. It can see where you are, what the doses is that you have been basically using, but even if you used it or not, because you could spray it in the air. No, it's going to measure the temperature, and by doing that, knowing that you actually took it. Apps that kind of like, and we really think about the adherence of patients, because we see waste, but the waste of not getting healthy is often due to the fact that the patient is not adhering to his therapy, and that could be different things. And think about sensors, for example, in a knee brace. I mean, you could think about a knee brace that can monitor the fact that you move, you strain your knee too much. I mean, you could get feedback to the patient and say, like, I mean, stop right now, because otherwise you're not going to be curing the knee the way you want to. Or go one step further as an orthopedian, like maybe change the way the knee brace behave. I mean, it can't move anymore after a while. So think about the possibility with this new technology. And working together with all these new entrants, these new technologies, and you see examples of it. I mean, Google with his contact lenses. I talked about Qualcomm, IBM Watson. I mean, cognitive computing power. This machine thinks like a human being, but can handle like millions of data. You remember this 80 million subscribers of MyFitnessPal, a similar number of Edmondo? I mean, this data, what I eat every day, when I do sports, how much calories I burn, it's all in there, together with all the literature and research of doctors. So brilliant information that's available. So we need to work with this ecosystem. We need to make sure that we all work together, get the data of the sensors, the data of these fitness apps, and make sure that we can also tap into this information that's available. Watson released, like I think last month, the fact that they're going to do GXP compliance. They can speed up the compliance in an incredible speed because the knowledge that they can gather from all these different kind of like platforms. So is this real? Is this really going to happen? Now, I kind of tend to think like follow the money. And the money is there. We see funding in this space, in analytics, in getting data, and think about interoperability. I think this is really important. Today, we can't get even data from one machine into the EHR record of a patient and stuff like that. While MyFitnessPal, it gets the data of my biking app, it gets the data of my running app. I mean, it gets all together. Why can't we do this as well? Think about getting this data and share this data with the rest of the network. Only then we're going to basically tap into the value that we can provide for a better health. And last but not least, I think the big question is, you could all say like, this is not me. I've got a very comfortable business right now, revenue is streaming in, and all of this might happen like at one point of time, but look at the companies that are really showing a growth. And growth might also still be in like new R&D in the actual development, not so much in linking these new technologies. But where do you want to be? Where do you want to be next year when we are all together here again? And with that, I conclude my setting the scene. Thank you.